keeping you connected to our community. 11 Connects.
And as always, thanks for joining us on 11 Connects. I'm your host, Tony Keith. To my right, we got Levi Heydrich, a man you should know because he's the owner of Heydrich's Colorado Tree Farm Nursery. And Levi, we're talking about water because in Colorado, sometimes you're hit with rain for 2 straight days and then it's bone dry for a week. So you really got to plan ahead when it comes to your trees, on new trees, with watering.
Right. I think you got to pay attention. In the middle of the summer, we go up and down. I mean, Colorado's weather is a roller coaster, hot, dry, to cool and wet. New plants are always going to need more water than things that are more established. And we'll quickly break it down. If you buy a big tree that's in a clay root ball, we call it balled and burlapped, those trees need watered longer and less often, but they've got to be soaked. So we're talking a very slow rate for 2 or 3, 4 hours, completely saturate, then dry it out before you water it again. If your new plant, tree, shrub, perennial was in a pot, it'll need to be watered a lot more frequently because that soilless media used in the containers dries out a lot faster. The main thing is you got to check. You won't know what you're dealing with until you dig down, check the soil. If it's saturated and wet, let it dry out. If it's moist or dry, soak it again. And you've got to do that cycle. New plants will need it much more frequently than old plants. Be sure to pay attention to the type of soil that you have, sand versus clay. Is it an area that gets runoff? You know, the rain's great. We'll always take rain, but if we get a quick downpour, most of that water is going to run down the street. When we get those nice slow soaks, that's what really saturates our ground and can help save some water on these new landscapes.
Let's talk about time of day when it comes to watering. Is it better night, morning, both?
You know, for turf, yeah, you want to water early in the morning before we get a lot of evaporation, and of course not with the wind, but that's with a sprinkler. With a drip or a slow hose, like a water bladder, you're not really losing much to evaporation. So you can really do it about any time at that point.
And what about planning around the weather, staying on top of the forecast essentially?
Just pay attention. Things that dry plants out is heat, low humidity, and wind. So if you see that in the forecast, know your plants are going to need more water.
Perfect. Well, hey, Levi knows what he's talking about. If you didn't catch all that, you want some more information, drop by here in person. Again, Heydrich's Colorado Tree Farm. Levi and his staff, they know what they're talking about. Thanks so much, Levi.